Well, hello everyone. Hope you are well. Drama in the stock market today. I have literally watched everything I can watch with people talking from this morning until now, late in the afternoon. This Wednesday, October 2020, 22nd here. I don't know where I'm getting that 2020. So obviously big day with a lot going on here. There is so much drums out there in the market. I mean, we've got the Dow closes 300 points, and that's kind of old news now. After we saw some other companies report earnings here at the end of the day, the market started to feel a little bit more comfortable, come back out. Tesla here kind of cleaned up a little bit of the mess today. It came out with the biggest quarterlies ever, not to mention, but they missed on profit because they lowered the price of the cars. So that was, but still, now, I mean, the bulls are going crazy. The bears are like, so that's going on. Then we had the OpenAI situation that happened yesterday, but bled in today. Google, Chrome, all that mess. Netflix released quarterlies after hours yesterday. They made a ton of money, did really good, but just fell short enough to make the money-hungry bulls super excited. Obviously, they're saying it's the Brazil tax dispute. Anyway, I mean, they're still up year after year here, and it's projected just to keep going there. So, just complete overreaction right there. And then, obviously, we've got some meme stock situations going on. Beyond Meat, Krispy Kreme, and people are like, why are you not talking about? I'm not talking about those right now because I don't. They're too dangerous. It's obvious what's going on over there. If you want to play with them, play with them. That's awesome. I'm watching them, obviously, because it's fun to watch. I love those kind of things, and I wish everyone the best of luck with them. I really do. And then we've got Trump here, who we're hoping just don't say anything about the T word, the tariff word. No more tariff talk unless it's good talk. So that is going on. Then we've got some stocks that I was just watching today. Obviously, stocks that I watch and stocks that I was curious to see what was the low they could hit today. And obviously a lot of the lower cap stocks are doing worse, I would say, than the higher ones because obviously they have a lot more to lose. But from Wolf here, and Wolf didn't really sell off that much. This is pretty impressive that it stayed even where it did. SoundHound still, SoundHound $17, that's still crazy high. Applied Digital does not want to let go of that $30 position, crazy. Netflix obviously took a hit here, but still over $1,000 stock. Palantir back in this one set, and Palantir about to release quarterlies here. This could be the last time. Mark this right here. This could be the last time you ever see Palantir in the 170s, because things are about to heat up next week with it, especially the week after that. And then SoFi actually surviving a lot of the market today, staying around this $27 position, because the last market crash we had here the last 2 weeks, we saw SoFi do a little worse than it did today. So that was pretty interesting. Like I said, the stocks started to come back here after hours. We're seeing some things, so we'll see what the mess is tomorrow when we get back into the market. And two, we've got another round of quarterlies tomorrow. Now, there's nothing like crazy exciting going on tomorrow. There's no more Teslas, there's no more Netflix, but nonetheless, there are more companies reporting quarterlies tomorrow. So it will be another round to see what kind of happens here. So friends, I hope you are well. I'm still with the drama in the market today. This is why, if you can, I get everyone is at different positions financially. That just things are crazy expensive today, and I get that it's hard for people to set aside different pockets of money to where they can get into the market and execute stocks when they're on sale, essentially when there's a bloodbath in the market, to take some extra money and get your positions down, or just buy in more to position for a long term, whatever you're trying to do. But today is a perfect example of that. If you have money sitting around in your account, this is the day. This is the day where you want to use it. I wouldn't look at today, but like, this is it. This is the crash, where it's the R word, the recession. Here we go. I really wouldn't say that. There's just drama in the market right now. We're used to drama. We've had a lot of drama this year. With all these big highs we've had this year, what else have we had? We've had a lot of drama that follows up with that. And there's always drama before the next big push. This is just, it's a spinning wheel at this point. We've seen this time and time again this year. So with all that said, let's talk about BigBear. Let's talk about Richtech. I want to get right back into what's going on with those. And I still am very excited for what we're about to walk into here the next 2 weeks. So friends, I hope you're well. I really do mean that. Let's go. So BigBear today sold off into, the lowest we had it today was around this 643. And honestly, that's still that is very survivor. So BigBear today, the lowest we had this was right at 643, and that is still survivable price range right there, very much so, to where it can easily push back up into a low 7, mid 7, depending on how aggressive the market can find itself here. Now, still 2 more days in the market here. We've got Thursday, we've got Friday. Like I said, Thursday is just going to be another round of quarterlies. We'll see what the market does tomorrow. The market's very touchy right now. It's very sensitive. So when it has not just one drama story out there, but many, and then we're going through quarterlies, and a lot of the quarterlies have been good. Even the bank stocks last week, but there's just it's nitpicking right now. It's really nitpicking. People, Wall Street constantly wants, Nvidia quarterlies, Palantir quarterlies, where it's just blowing the socks off, the bears, and you're not always going to get that. I would much rather have just good quarterlies and great quarterlies, but there's just the greed, the market that wants just groundbreaking quarterlies every single 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterly we have here. So things are going good. Things are going good here, real good. But with BigBear here, obviously they will be coming out with quarterlies on November 4th, and so essentially we've got until the 4th for something that could push back up in here to BigBear. Now, obviously, the market with the sell-off here, if BigBear can remain in this $6 position, which, this is still very good where BigBear is at right now. So even with the drama right now in the market and it's settling in this mid $6 range, this is great. This is great, especially if you're trying to swing trade this into, November 3rd, 4th, right before quarterlies come out with expectation. If you're buying up shares right now, or you're buying down your position and you're planning on swing trading maybe half your position, around the 3rd or 4th, you're probably going to do really good, I would imagine, because like I said, tomorrow we've got more quarterlies. Friday is when the CPI inflation report comes out and the Feds will be talking. Now we'll see what more the Feds say. We'll see if they allude to next week, essentially, when they meet back up for rate cut conversation. And I think the market's going to start pricing in next week regardless about this meeting. The hype will be pushing. It's going to probably be a repeat of what we've seen. There would have to be some major drama still surging through the market that we're seeing right now into next week. And I don't know how much longer some of this drama can go. As long as Trump doesn't tweet anything, Sam Altman doesn't say anything else stupid, the Netflix stuff kind of gets wrapped up here, and we see some recovery in the market here. Investors, I think, will definitely see the market push back up here. So with BigBear, that's the short moment burst here that more than likely we will see here. And I say that because that's probably how a lot of people are going to play it. BigBear still, as much as I love it, it is still not producing enough revenue. It's just not producing quarterlies that are beating what they need to be beating. In the last quarterly, Q2 there was just miserable. Since Q2, we've had more deals, we've had partnerships, essentially same thing there, but we don't know exactly if they're going to hit this quarterly. I would imagine this quarterly should be pretty good. It should be good. It kind of has to be, because we've seen a lot of a lot of money publicly be flowed back into it here on top of what was already there. I think a lot of us, if Big Bear can at least get somewhere up in this $37-38 million range, that is going to be phenomenal. It's a situation of Q2 was so bad. If Q2 could just be even like $5-8 million on top of what we just had here, it would change a lot here regardless, because it would tell us, okay, momentum with revenue is really increasing here. So if Big Bear can maybe just not even if they don't beat quarterlies here, if they just come a hair close to it, it will at least tell investors, okay, that's a massive change. That is a massive redirection of where the stock was going. The deals are making a difference, and if we can get to getting into 2026 here, obviously there's still another quarterly to wrap up 2025, but if Big Bear can continue to execute these deals, okay, now we're talking about Big Bear getting into this $40 million range. Okay, maybe by next summer, depending on how aggressive deals do get here, could we be talking about Big Bear getting into 40 in the middle, 45 million, 48 million in revenue? It's not a lot compared to a lot of AI stocks, but it's a lot for Big Bear because they haven't been there in quite some time, or even close to that. So that would really bust Big Bear into this $10, $15 position. But for Big Bear to hold this $8, $9, $10 what we could see next push here, it's gonna have to give investors something. It's gonna have to give bigger investors a reason to trust it, to stay with it here into the 2026. But saying that too, I think investors are, it's going to be a love affair with Big Bear here, because it's been that all year. I think a lot of people have come and gone here with Big Bear, where Big Bear has achieved a lot of deals, had a lot of success this year, but just hasn't got over the threshold of executing on quarterlies. As soon as you turn your back on it, you look over and it's like, I got a partnership, I got another one, oh, I got this nice deal, and then you're like, okay, I'll come back, and then people come right back into it, try to buy in as low as they can, and then hey, yes, in between quarterlies we have some massive burst of energy. Maybe you're swing trading in and out of that, taking some profit, building up some a thicker share basis. So this has kind of been the give and take of Big Bear here essentially for a year now. Since like last October, November, since they got that first big defense deal. So if Big Bear can just get somewhere achieving this next quarterly, it's definitely going to make a huge difference. And I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that they can maybe pull this off. I was really trying to I was trying to gather up every single little bit of deal, everything I could, for what I was even trying to look up, like, what is just a general airline security deal, trying to get an idea of what Big Bear could be looking, what they received financially. It's not really worth looking up. I don't know. I just don't, at the end of the day, we don't know what these quarterlies are going to be, and that is scary to go into trust Big Bear once again when it has let down investors on quarterlies. Now, for the person going, what are you talking about? Big Bear's going to make it. Big Bear's going to do good. Listen, I love Big Bear, and I'm hopeful that they can have things turn around here. But for long-term achievement for investors, for Big Bear to really make a difference here, they're going to have to start making quarterlies. But like I said, the love affair with Big Bear with a lot of us is that every time we have a quarterly come out and it doesn't hit, people run away, they turn their head, they're mad, they're upset, they storm out of the place, and they're like, I'm never coming back. And then the next day the lights are on, Big Bear's like, hey, 50% off, we got some new product in here. It's just the way it's been going. So I'm hopeful that something's going to turn around here, that Big Bear's going to pull this off. So like I said, we'll see what tomorrow brings here. If Big Bear holds this 6 middle ground, that's pretty impressive, because Big Bear's had a lot worse days here in the market when we've had some bad news here. So yeah, with big pushes, there's going to come big sell-offs, 100%, friends. And talking about Richtech, I'm very excited about Richtech. If Richtech can, obviously Richtech took the biggest tumble today, and Richtech's back up into this, initial first big push. Well, it's kind of further than it was. The first initial big push when NVIDIA and Richtech here first came to public here was back in September, and Richtech went from a measly $2 stock to $2.90 to high $3 position, and that's when a lot of the mass started to pay attention here. But essentially the second big phase here with Richtech was around this $4 middle ground range to $5 range, and this is back where we're at right now. So it's not terrible by any means. It's not terrible. And more than likely, the beautiful situation with Richtech here is that Richtech kind of just has this, like I've said this, but it has just this like do what it wants to mentality, get out of jail free card, because Richtech is not producing quarterlies until January. And obviously there's a lot of conversation about buyout. There's a lot of conversation about partnership. They've already had this thing happen here with NVIDIA, and next week they're going to be at this big convention, NVIDIA there, everything, it's going to be a big thing. We're hoping it's a big thing. A lot of people are making the rumor, and there's obviously nice chunks of meat to bite on here with the rumor pool. I love a rumor in the stock market that NVIDIA will just buy Richtech. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. Now, could NVIDIA take a huge amount of money and push it into Richtech? Yes, that I could see happening 100%, because that's what NVIDIA does. Every year NVIDIA does that, especially at the beginning of the years. And they do it like at the beginning, sometimes over the summer, and towards the end of the year too. We've seen that. Where NVIDIA, the biggest company in the world, if you don't know, tech company essentially, will take money and they will find smaller tech companies and that they like, that they feel are amazing. This is how SoundHound got a lot of stuff going. I mean, if you're wondering where SoundHound got a lot of its momentum, it was the NVIDIA investments. But NVIDIA will find smaller AI stocks, companies, and they'll invest in them, and then usually those stocks will have an immediate pop. And NVIDIA obviously does a lot of investigating. They're just not giving these companies X amount of millions of dollars. They're doing a lot of research, digging into it, seeing what's going on. They're going to get their money back and some, obviously, and we already know that this stuff is going on. So for NVIDIA and Richtech to further this relationship with a mega contract relationship here, I don't think it's that impossible at all. Now, if that were to happen, it would be amazing. I mean, that would be great, because obviously I get that Richtech is not for everybody. This is a wild theory. This is a wild thought. This is something, robotics in the market and robotics in society like this, humanoid, robotic, kind of Star Wars looking robots that Richtech has, that it's essentially, it's a service robot, for just service, cleaning, or taking orders, food service, things like that. This is not it's not a trusted investment yet. It's a very new concept for investors. So, I get when, people look at a lot of these robotic stocks, when they look at them, they go like, I don't know. I really don't know about this. We haven't seen it work yet. That's the thing. So, when people go like, I don't know about this, man, I totally get it. 100%. I mean, everything that is new to the market, people are scared of, and the bears will come at everyone that is for it. Okay. I am of the mindset that where I think technology will always win. Okay. We've seen this in the market just the last 10 years, and we're seeing this, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we're already seeing the shift here. But I think robots are here to stay. I think this is going to become a panic in the market either this coming year or very soon. I think it's already starting up, but obviously even with Tesla releasing earnings today. I mean, even, Tesla's saying, hey, Dan Ives just gave an interview today about it, and he said, this is the start right here, where Tesla is turning into more of this AI company, where they're pushing, their Gronk AI, their robot, Optimus, Robotaxi. I mean, that is essentially that's a lot of robotic stuff right there. So, and who knows what, Elon will say Tesla's going to be doing in 5 years. What else they'll develop, who knows? So with that, I think robotics is going to have a floodgate open here with investors somewhere in the future, okay? And I think that's why a lot of people are looking at Richtech right now, because they've already got some good heat on them. Some stuff's been going on. They've received, a nice couple little deals this year, and we're already expecting this next quarterly in January to be better than, they've had here. So yeah, I think the next push in the market, whether that's next week or the week after that, who knows when the market will start to rally here. I think a lot of that's going to depend on what we see Friday, and a lot of, next week with more quarterlies coming out and the Fed's talking, okay? But nonetheless, this is the thing, just like, this is where you kind of go, it's not really fair, because there's people right now going, well, this is it. This is the market crash. This is it right here. You've got people that are running huge hedge funds, huge investors right now, saying publicly on TV that this is the calm before the storm of the Wall Street starts to buy back in, before the Feds come out here and say, okay, we're going to do that rate cut, and we'll probably do that rate cut in December. And then the panic starts to kick in again, where people are plowing into the market. And then, this is where that conversation starts to really push up again, where the S&P 500 is pushing over 7,000 points by the end of the year. So we're talking less than 60 days where the market stands to aggressively run here. This is getting stuff 50% off or more right now. You're buying sales on stuff. When stuff goes red in the market, I really don't understand why people panic. I really don't. A sell, a panic, drama in the market, okay, big deal. That's good. Buy more of it. Or if you haven't, get into that position you always wanted to get into with what you have. I don't understand why people get upset with these red days. I really don't. This is how you make your bones, because you come in here with a bag of what you're holding and start buying up things. I fully expect the market to have another rally here. I think we all do. It's not a secret. It's just a matter of when at this point, and Wall Street knows what it's doing. It's taking profit. It's sold off. It's betted against some stuff right now, and they're gonna, Wall Street, retail investors, we will all meet back up here somewhere on top of a new hill. That's more than likely what's going to happen here. So friends, be encouraged, stay encouraged, remain happy. This is not the end of, Pompeii here. We are still running hot, and the market is just, there's a lot of drama, a lot of touchy subjects right now in the market, but things nonetheless are going to, we're about to see some great things happen here. Friends, take care of yourself. I will talk to you soon. Be excited about BigBear. Be excited about Richtech. These are interesting stocks, even going into next year's stock market. I'm really curious to see what these stocks do. You got to think about this, and I'll say this, I'll shut up, but all the stuff that's been done with BigBear, been done with Richtech this year, this is a lot of work that's been done that can really lead in and set up great runs into 2026. It really could. It's very interesting where we find ourselves here, and probably, this is early conversation, because by the end of December, I'm very curious to see where a lot of these stocks right now are going to be. It's going to be very interesting. Friends, take care of yourself, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.